Hi everyone, my name is Sai Abdul and I'm a former client of Immigration Equality. And I just want to welcome all of you into our Safe Haven Awards and say thank you for being here with us. The organization has saved my life and I'm so proud to be with all of you this evening. Before we start, I also want to congratulate our honorees and send thank you to our presenting sponsors. So, congratulations to our corporate honoree, Deutsche Bank. We have Wilkie Farr, our proud and free honoree. We have Fish and Richardson, our pro bono firm honoree. And we have Kramer Levin, our pro bono firm honoree as well. And we also have Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, our event honoree. Congratulations to our honorees, and I also want to say thank you to our presenting sponsor, Marriott International. We have a lot for you in store this evening. We're going to have harpist Ashley Jackson will play, poet Royal Marsh will read a piece, Pam Reyes will perform, and we'll close out the evening with DJ Hannah Liu. But first, we'll hear from Immigration Equality's legal team about the highlights and challenges of this past year, which happens to be our 25th anniversary celebration. Thank you so much and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, amazing legal team, for all coming together to kind of give folks a little bit of insight into the work that you all do. I'm so happy to see you out of your pajamas, which I feel like is often how we meet. Everybody's looking a little sharper than in our legal meetings. But I think we wanted to just sort of talk about ups and downs of this year and share a little bit about why you do the amazing work that you do and how this work has impacted you. So let's see. Maybe Stephanie, if you could start us off, can you tell us about a case that has challenged or changed you personally?
Absolutely. There's one in particular that comes to mind because it has a very happy ending. So we have a client who is a trans woman from El Salvador. She actually came to us back in 2017, and her affirmative asylum application had been pending for many years. We finally got an interview date last August 2019, and it was a very challenging case because of the horrific persecution that she had suffered in her country. It was extremely traumatizing to relive that, both in preparation for the interview and at the interview. She's also a Spanish speaker, so we had an interpreter, so the interview lasted many hours, which is particularly grueling when you are reliving trauma for that much time. And all at once as well. And we waited many months to get a decision, and we finally this year got a approval of her asylum case. And so after a year, she'll be able to adjust status, and she is on her way to doing just that once the year has elapsed. So it's one of those success stories where Immigration Equality was representing a client directly, and it's one that is very dear to my heart.
Well, hello, and welcome to Immigration Equality's Safe Haven Awards. I'm your executive director, Aaron Morris, and with me today is Tanisha Massey, who is on our board of directors. What product placement?
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the live portion of the video. And, you know, I want to be so thankful to all of you who bought tickets to this event. All of you who are sponsors and supporters of the event. You know, it's hard not to be together because it's such a beautiful way for us to acknowledge our heroes and frankly raise a lot of money. But we're hoping tonight we can, you know, simulate the best that we can from our apartments in Brooklyn. that real life experience. I want to thank in particular our presenting sponsor, Marriott International, for being such a remarkable supporter, not just this year, but all years. So, you know, you may not be traveling a lot, but if you got somewhere to go, maybe stay at a Marriott. And Tanisha, like, who are we honoring tonight, and what's that about?
Well, Aaron, we're honoring some wonderful organizations and law firms. And as we saw in the video that led into us being live, our first honoree, our corporate honoree, is Deutsche Bank. So thank you, Deutsche Bank. We also would like to say congratulations to our proud and free honoree, Wilkie Farr. Yay, Wilkie Farr. And then for our pro bono, our pro bono law firm honorees this year are Fish and Richardson. Thank you. Congratulations on your award. And also Kramer Levin. We so appreciate all of the work that all of you do and all the contributions that you make to immigration equality. Thank you so much.
So, you know, in thinking about the contributions that they made last year, because this year's awards celebrates our...
I'm going to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. I apologize, technical delays, but last but not least, in this event that is our event honor, wonderful Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal from Washington's 7th District. So we also want to congratulate her, and we look forward to hearing from her.
Thanks, Tanisha. And when thinking about the honorees that we have this year, it's usually for the work that they did last year. And one of the things I'm struck by is that every one of these individuals and entities is still a close partner to immigration equality, as are a remarkable number of our sponsors for the event, which has brought us, you know, our goal is $500,000. We want to raise $500,000 to support LGBTQ and HIV positive immigrants and refugees. And at some point, $500,000 seems like a lot of money because our budget is around $2 million. But the good news is, because of the support of all of these remarkable individuals, we are already at the $485,000 mark. So tonight, we must raise at least $15,000, which is so doable given the audience that we have. Of course, two things. If someone wants to write me a $15,000 check right now, we'll just cancel the event and we'll just sign off. That's not true. But we can always make more than $15,000. Yes, go higher. So Tanisha, how can someone give if they wanted to?
Well, there are myriad ways to give, but the three primary that we have for this evening, you should see at the bottom of the screen a QR code, which you can just wave your camera over. Aaron's telling me that I'm going on the wrong side, so I'm going to go on the other side. And a QR, that's for, I had to look that up, but that was that's for quick response. And we also have a Venmo account, and we also have Zelle, if anybody's inclined to use that, which is the address is JCARRELL at Immigration Equality. So there you go. Very easy.
And Venmo is very similar. You just search Immigration Equality, and that's actually a phone that I have, and then I just accept. And then if you send me a like, I'll send you a little love heart. So I just want to make a plug for, you know, I'm not giving a speech this year, so I'm going to take 60 seconds just to say, we are in a crossroads, and there are remarkable opportunities and remarkable problems to fix going forward. And no matter who is in the White House, no matter how the Senate goes, no matter what the makeup of the court, you know, to steal a line from one of my favorite former presidential candidates, we have a plan for that. we are prepared. Like, on behalf of the staff and the board, what I want you to know is that we are prepared for whatever eventuality comes, to protect, to defend, and to empower LGBTQ and HIV positive immigrants. And there's a road that will be really, really hard, which we will do if we have to, and a road that will be less hard. But we're dedicated to this. We're really good at doing this, and we're pretty determined to make it happen. So whatever you can give at any dollar amount, if it's $10, great. If you can become a monthly giver at $10 a month, talk to us. You can also give at immigrationequality.org/donate. But tonight we need to raise at least $15,000, and hopefully, I don't know, sky's the limit. And Tanisha and I will be back 1 or 2 times just to say hello and to say thank you. If you'd like your gift to be recognized, no need to say anything. If you do not want your gift to be recognized, just put that in the notes, because we'll be sympathetic to that. And up next is a woman who is one of my personal heroes, Congresswoman Jayapal, as Tanisha noted earlier. And she, in addition to just being a remarkable legislator who has introduced bill after bill of progressive legislation that we have always endorsed, when she was running the subcommittee in the Judiciary of the House on the effects of detention on vulnerable populations, she made sure that an immigration equality client was there to testify among 4 other clients, 4 other impacted people, to really demonstrate the detriments of detaining a gay HIV positive man. And so with that, one of my heroes in Congress still matters. They still do great work, some of them. Let's turn it over to Congresswoman Jayapal.
Hello, I'm Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and I'm proud to represent Washington's 7th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I'm deeply honored and humbled to accept this Safe Haven Award from you at Immigration Equality tonight. As an organizer, an immigrant, and a naturalized citizen, as a member of Congress, and as the proud mother of a non-binary child, I know that the path to justice is through coalitions and partnerships that grow our movement and build our power. Immigration equality has been one of those true partners in our fight for social justice and equality, and for dignity and the rights of LGBTQIA refugees and immigrants from around the world and here in the United States. That work is more important now than ever before. The forces of xenophobia and homophobia are being propelled by leaders who promote white supremacy, hate, and division here and around the world. I want to thank you for partnering with us on fighting against the conditions for LGBTQ and HIV positive immigrants in our shameful immigrant detention system in the United States, as well as around the world, in places where it is shockingly still illegal to be LGBTQ. And for speaking up for immigration reform that welcomes those fleeing unspeakable violence because of their sexual orientation, gender identity, HIV status, those who are seeking to keep their families together. And when COVID struck, you heroically sprung into action, recognizing the unique health risk that the already dangerous and unsanitary conditions of ICE detention centers pose to those living with HIV. Your work so successfully demanded and got the release of 9 individuals in detention before the virus could spread to them, and that is truly inspiring. Seeking protection for detained people and working to release them and unify them with their families and communities has been a priority for me, and it's been so wonderful to work with immigration equality on this issue. I worked hard to ensure that LGBTQ people had a voice at the Immigration Subcommittee detention hearing that I chaired last year on my Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act and on transforming the detention system as a whole. Immigration equality is a safe haven for those who live in fear, those who are not afforded basic dignity and human rights simply because of who they are or who they love, those who need a place to call and access legal counsel. Ensuring access to legal counsel is a critical priority for me as well. And that's why I'm so proud that earlier this year, the House of Representatives passed my Access to Counsel Act, which makes sure that those detained by Customs and Border Protection with legal status can consult with an attorney to help them understand and exercise their rights. Everyone deserves the kind of representation, advocacy, and care that immigration equality helps makes possible. We have so much more work left to do and so many more people left to fight for. I intend to ensure that working with you, we pass the Equality Act, restore humanity and pathways for asylum seekers and refugees, ensure that no child is ever separated from their parents, outlaw for-profit detention centers, and transform the cruel immigrant incarceration system in our country, and finally, pass humane and comprehensive immigration reform. Let me end with this. These are trying times, especially for those of us who are women, people of color, immigrants, and LGBTQ folks. I want you to know that I see you, I see your clients, I know their stories, and I know we are all facing so much darkness. But take heart in the fact that it is always darkest before the dawn. The road to justice is never smooth or easy. And what we know is that the story of the LGBTQ community and the story of proud immigrants like me, the first South Asian American to ever serve in the U.S. House of Representatives and just one of 14 naturalized citizens in Congress, is a story of strength, resilience, and progress. It is that strength and resilience that is reflected right here in this room with all of you at Immigration Equality. You give me hope and you make me certain that the future is bright. Thank you so much for the honor of this award, and thank you for your work and partnership in our fight for justice.
What sort of particular, Doris, have you had particular challenges this year that have presented themselves with everything that's going on?
Yes, so so far this year, I feel like one of the biggest challenges for me is the fact that some of our clients like the reassurance that a physical space provides. Sometimes it's hard to explain that we are working remotely and that we don't really know if or when we are going to be able to return to a physical space. And I think that in a way, I want to think that in a way, they feel like that with us, with our organization specifically, because when they came in person, the first time that they visited us, they felt safe in a way. So for me, that's one of the biggest challenges this year so far.
Amitesh, can you maybe fill people in on some of the biggest challenges for you working with clients remotely in this new COVID reality?
Sure. Just in general, like when we were not working remotely, working with clients used to be a lot easier. There have been a lot of challenges that COVID has brought upon us, in addition to just the health risks. Working with clients has become a little more difficult, mostly because a lot of clients don't really have access to technologies, or that would allow us to video conference with each other. And honestly, when you're doing an intake or when you're trying to speak to a client or explain things to them, it really helps to have a face-to-face interaction, so you can kind of suss out the situation, the mood in the room, the emotion, which can be really hard to do sometimes over just a phone call. It has also become really hard to help clients out in terms of finding representation for them, because as the COVID-19 pandemic continues, a lot of people are working from home, and everyone working from home has the same constraints that everyone else has. Like, people have families to take care of, like people are, like children are in schools, and in addition to that, you kind of have to navigate working and living, especially in New York City, like working and living in the same small place, like same small space for like, months at end. And, because of all these challenges, a lot of, we've seen that decline in the number of cases that attorneys have taken up. And that has actually proved really challenging, especially in terms of communicating that with the clients who come to us with a lot of hope, that we might be able to help them. We, like sometimes it can be really heartbreaking to just go back to them and say, unfortunately, we were not able to find you representation. However, here are a list of other organizations that might be able to help you out. But unfortunately, even those other organizations are at capacity due to the same reasons that we might be at capacity, or due to the same reasons that we have not been able to find representation for, our clients. That being said, as people are getting more and more accustomed to working from home, we have actually seen a rise in the number of cases that are being picked up. And so I really hope that, all of you continue to take on cases and continue to do all the good work that you do, because it really does help out our clients, and it really does help, it is really life-saving work.
Liza, you do a lot of work with folks in detention. You're a detention advocate. Can you give us an example of maybe a particular case or client that really moved or touched you this year?
I think it's not just particular case, but I see this come up in a lot of cases where, I receive phone calls from people who've experienced horrific persecution in their home countries, and or in their countries of origin, and then they come here to seek asylum and end up in immigration detention. And oftentimes they have to go through their immigration court hearings from detention, so which creates a lot of obstacles for people to, try and argue their case in front of immigration judge without really knowing a whole lot about how the system works, or the most maybe effective methods to advocate for themselves. But at the same time, those are all very compelling cases. And so I noticed that, a difference between someone going in front of an immigration judge with no legal support, or, somebody going in front of an immigration judge with pro se advice from us, that makes all the difference in their case. So I think that's what I find the most impactful, how just a little bit of guidance from attorneys can make a difference, in someone winning or losing. And, I've seen a handful of cases play out that way. And thankfully, people we have been pro se advising have all won their cases and were released from detention. So that's amazing.
So Amitesh, you had said, that because of COVID, it's a little bit harder to place cases with pro bono counsel right now. But for our clients, is there less need?
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, I would argue that our clients currently have even more needs because, so one, in terms of navigating immigration during the COVID-19 pandemic, USCIS does not know what they're doing for like sometimes, and every single immigration court has their own rules about how, about different filings, about the timings for filings, and you can't expect, one should not expect a client to be able to navigate that by themselves. It's really confusing, even for the attorneys, even for me, and I've been an immigration lawyer for 4.5 years at this point. It is really confusing, even for lawyers more experienced than I am. And how does one expect someone who's so traumatized, coming to the United States to seek safe haven, to navigate that entire process by themselves? I feel like, in addition to that, clients also need help navigating life in the United States once they come here. And once they come here, there are, especially now during the pandemic, clients may not know what benefits they might have available to them, what benefits they actually qualify for, and whether or not they can apply for them. And sometimes these benefits can be very important for a client to be able to survive in the United States. So I actually do think that needs of our clients have increased. And so it is even more important. It is important now more than ever, for clients to be able to get representation, for attorneys to volunteer to represent clients on cases. for attorneys to volunteer to represent clients pro bono with their immigration cases.
Hi, my name is Pam Reyes. I'm an artist, musician, arts educator, and activist. I want to thank Immigration Equality for inviting me to be a part of Safe Haven Awards 2020. As a queer artist and first-generation Filipino-American immigrant, I see the unquantifiable importance of Immigration Equality's work and mission. It comforts me to know that there's an organization like you, equipped with legal advisors who know the ins and outs of our too often discriminatory legal system, and who fight vigorously for the LGBTQ and HIV-positive immigrant population. The following documentary music video features a day in the lives of 3 real-life DACA holders, Edwin, Jung Ray, and Beatriz. Dear Dreamer is an anthem for those who fight to be seen, to be heard and listened to, and to be counted for. Thank you for watching.
Dusty island, grew up just to get out. Used to rope her pearly whites with ashes from the night fire. Her shirts were loose and her shoes were tight. She grew up just to get out. She grew up just to get out. Worked the day to sort of play. She traded in her childhood. And across the planet Earth she flew, her husband and her daughters too. Oh, way before the sun dried up all the dew, she left the only place she knew. She left the only place she knew. Oh, it's happening. We're finally on an upswing. This new land is promising. A better life is coming. They say we all stand together. Now they tell us to take cover, and their hatred makes you wonder. Keep on dreaming, my dear dreamer. Well, tell me where you come from, brother. You stand up proud and brown, my sister. Keep on dreaming, my dear dreamer. Keep on dreaming, my dear dreamer. Oh, it's happening. Hold my hand and sing with me. The pendulum is swinging. stays and who must go and who is fighting and who is righting these wrongs, and we are watching. We are strong. We are strong. We are strong. Who stays?
Good evening, beautiful people of the world. I'm Brian King, Global Officer at Merit International and a very proud member of Immigration Equality's board. Congratulations to Immigration Equality's team for the impressive work of turning the Safe Haven Gala, always a great event, now in the midst of COVID-19, into a wonderful virtual event. Marriott is proud to be the presenting sponsor for the third year in a row. You know, I think we've all gotten too used to experiencing our bright moments of celebration over a screen. Well, sometimes it's difficult, and we miss that special in-person connection. It pales in comparison to the greater challenges of the year, which highlight some of the fundamental inequities in our country and the world. We have seen the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 pandemic on people of color and low-income communities. We have seen how systemic racism remains prevalent throughout the United States and in many parts of the globe. Most recently, we have faced the harsh reality that some of our leaders, if given the chance, would strip away rights for the LGBT community, including our right to marry, and just be our authentic selves. Essentially, we have all seen how the deck is stacked against so many who may look differently or love differently than those who made the rules. Therefore, the work of immigration equality is more important than ever. The fight is harder, and the stakes could not be higher. IE fights to ensure an even playing field, bringing equality, dignity, and hope to those who are the most vulnerable. Marriott is honored to call them a trusted partner. Nearly a decade ago, we first worked with IE on immigration reform legislation to ensure the fair treatment of LGBTQ individuals and families in the immigration system. For the past 3 years, we've supported IE's work to extend free legal services to LGBTQ asylum seekers fleeing persecution. We are proud of our partnership and happy to use our marketing platform, #LoveTravels, for additional support, including World Pride. Spreading the word to help enable IE to expand its life-changing and often life-saving work is more important than ever. At Marriott, welcoming all is core to our company. Our goal is to make sure that no matter who you are, no matter who you love, you can enter one of our hotels and feel safe and at home for associates and guests alike. We are the only hospitality company to serve on corporate coalitions supporting 4 key federal legislative priorities for the LGBT community. And this includes the Defense of Marriage Act, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, Uniting Families, and Tax Equity. We remain supporters of the Equality Act and encourage Congress to finally pass this key piece of legislation to provide essential protections against discrimination to our community. In 2016, our president and CEO, Arne Sorensen, was the first business leader to publicly condemn North Carolina's HB 2 legislation. At the end of 2018, Marriott was the only global hotel company to sign a public statement safeguarding transgender equality in response to the federal government's threat to erase transgender non-discrimination protections. More recently, We have joined large and local businesses in Tennessee to oppose laws that discriminate against LGBTQ families. This includes allowing taxpayer-funded adoption agencies to turn away couples based on their sexual orientation. When love travels, the world is a more peaceful and inclusive place. We are grateful to Immigration Equality, the tireless advocacy behind the scenes, and the continued partnership. Thank you for moving us to that much closer, much safer, and better world for all. Enjoy the evening. Thanks so much.
It was in my uncle's house, and we were watching this show that had a trans man in there. The comments that I heard about this man that day, oh my God, they terrified me. People like this, and they use this exact words, that they change what God has created. Because of sexual needs, they should burn in hell. Exact words. They don't know that in my head, oh my God, this is how I feel. My name is Omar Hassan. I am from Alexandria, Egypt. I was born and raised there until I was 26 years old. I think I was 8 when I started to realize that there's something going on different. I didn't know what was it exactly, but I wasn't happy. It was my life. I wanted to play boy sports. I wanted to wear boys' clothes. When I started to develop as a girl, man, it was a nightmare. I hid my chest with a binder that I made. And when I tell you, I sewed my skin to that binder, but I did it because it made me feel like a man, like who I am. High school, that was another stage of my life. I had my first serious love. I'm not saying crush, it's love. I was in love. We had pretty good 2 years. Now the third year was the breakup year, because everybody started to notice what's happening. Okay, these two girls, is something happening. My mother, at the end of the last year of high school, threatened her. She said, if you don't stop talking to my daughter, I will go to your parents' house and let them know what's going on between you and her, and you know the result of that. Of course, we both knew the result of that is death. At this age, you don't think, okay, they're gonna beat us up, or I can just run away. No, at this age, if they put this fear in your head that you can't, they have you. If you try to get away, you die. So that was my first love story, how it ended. I used to feel that there is someone surrounding me like this with their arms, and they crushing my bones. That's how bad it was. So I didn't know what to do. I applied for the visa 4 times, and each time was just disappointment. And then finally, God sent me the perfect chance, and I had to take it. My cousin got married to a very powerful, wealthy man in Egypt. I took a job in his office. That was my chance. That job got me the visa, and thank God I was able to flee. So I got my ticket. The next day I told my parents that I'm leaving, right? The third day I was on the bus to the airport. I was shaking and sweating so bad. I don't know if I was sad or scared or excited, but when I got on the airplane, I was like, there is hope. This is my happy corner. I love doing this tree every year. And this year I'm gonna surprise all my co-workers in a Santa suit. And I got them gifts for in Santa sack. This one goes to Sabruna. I'm gonna be like that. This is my holy book, the Quran. There is this prayer that happens every Friday. All the men goes to the mosque to do a prayer, and it's a noon prayer, right? So I wasn't ever able to do that, and I was dying to do it. You know why? Of course, because that's like part of being a man. This is the first time I put that Egyptian gown and took my car and I went for the prayer. It's the first time in my life. Man, when I was standing like this praying, I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Citizenship to me was life-saving, not less than that. Life-saving. Omar Hassan legally don't exist anywhere else. So citizenship meant you belong and you are 100% safe, untouchable.
Whew. You know, Tanisha, I met Omar, I don't know, years ago, when he was first about to be undocumented, and we took his case, and even we saw him through the entire process, and even as he was becoming a citizen, he called and asked if we would do his application, and I just thought, I mean, you speak perfect English, you're really smart dude, and everything is in your corner. I don't really think in this one instance, maybe you don't need me or a lawyer, really. And he just said, the Trump administration doesn't like trans people. I don't feel safe. And so we did it anyway. And I think he was right, because of all of the terrible attacks on the trans community that are happening. You know, I'm so thankful for all of the people that gave so far. So let's just talk about them. Brian King, who is our board member and who you saw earlier. Thank you so much, Brian. Another board member, Naveen Maglani. I think, Tanisha, you may be on mute. Timur.
I actually
Timur.
was. There we go.
Yeah. Timur from DC. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. And thank you, Nicholas DeFabrizio. Thank you so much.
Thank you to my mother for the $1,000 gift. It's very kind, Mom.
And thank you to another one of our board members, Shanti. So we really appreciate that. And thank you to other contributors this evening, other donors who helped to keep us going, Leah and Joy. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
And
it.
thank you. Thank you to Melissa on Venmo, because there's so many ways to give. So far, we've raised $3,500, which is a great start. But you know, we're not quite at 15,000. So keep giving. There's this beautiful patchwork thing at the corner of the screen if you want to easily give. But we'll take any money that you got, any way you want to give it. Yes,
We definitely will. We're not ashamed, and even with my troubles finding the QR code, we appreciate it.
So up next is a poet and an artist who will, you know, express a little bit of creativity in what seems like a really dark moment. So please enjoy Roya.
Can you both speak to an example or two of some of the incredible work that our pro bono partners have done that has really been life-changing? Because I know that we talk about this internally all the time about an amazing job that a particular attorney has gone above and beyond in a case. Could you both maybe throw out an example of some of that amazing work that you've seen?
One of the cases that stands out for me is a case where pro bono attorneys were working with a gay man from Jamaica who had applied for asylum affirmatively. Unfortunately, he was convicted of a crime. He served his time. He was showing up at all of his probation appointments. And unfortunately, one day when he showed up for his probation appointment, he was picked up by ICE. And this, many months after the matter had been settled, he was put into detention, a detention center, and actually his removal proceedings were fast-tracked. We could really tell that the court was moving very rapidly to try to remove this individual. And the pro bono attorneys were so incredible, contacted us right away. We brainstormed on the case, and they essentially attended 2 master calendar hearings and argued at the individual hearing within the span of about 2 months to advocate for him, to advocate for withholding of removal or relief under the Convention Against Torture in the event that the judge found he was not eligible for asylum. And they did. They won withholding of removal for this client, and they also managed to convince the deportation officer to release him the day after he won, which is a huge feat. For those of you who don't know, it has been increasingly difficult, as Amitesh has pointed out, to get clients to be released from detention even after they have won relief. They are being held for so long, even during a pandemic. And so this is really where having a pro bono attorney comes in and really helps clients in a very significant way, because he would have been possibly removed and possibly still in detention if their attorneys did not go above and beyond and really advocate for this client with the deportation officer. So we do encourage everyone who's here tonight, all of our allies, our supporters, to help us in commenting on proposed rules that do come out and regulations. There are usually comment periods that are open for everyone to submit comments to prevent these horrific new rules from coming into effect. So that is another great way that you can get involved. And we also encourage you to check out our website. We do have a Get Involved page where you can find different pages to volunteer with us. You do not need to be an attorney to volunteer with us. We need all kinds of help and support. If you have any sort of language capacity, we also love to include as many people as we can so that we can find clients help in the language of their native language or their second language if we can. And so we invite you to check out our website at the Get Involved page as well.
And sometimes while we are circulating the cases, clients do get scheduled for individual hearings. And for those that may not know, an individual hearing is a final hearing where the immigration judge will be ready to make a decision on that case. So one of the best calls to get is when we know that the client was scheduled for an individual and they're calling right after their individual hearing. And when they say the words, "the immigration judge approved my case," it's always, even though the clients are crying at that moment, it makes you happy because you know that even with limited assistance, they were able to win their cases. And that is also often because those are often the strongest cases we get. So just a pitch for you to get involved with our detention program.
And just to add to that, prior to my work at Immigration Equality, I did not realize the importance of having, of course, people have already dealt with some really horrible trauma, and to have the country conditions to kind of reinforce the fact that they are leaving a country that, they've gone through some horrific stuff in their home countries. It's really nice to be able to put these country conditions packets together and being able to, at times, even if, we haven't been able to provide, it's being able to provide something. And so, after that initial conversation, here, let me start by sending you a country conditions packet that will really kind of help you out. And I think getting a phone call of somebody, calling me back and thanking me is always such a really beautiful feeling. And just saying, thank you for sending that to me. It was really helpful. And I was able to submit it in time. because, the immigration system is pretty tough to navigate.
I've never forgotten how much it costs to hold a lover's hand and never look back at the beast behind them. Behind them is a rainbow, or at least we'd imagine a better memory than the fire, trailing, chased from home, dying to land here on this soil, the land of the free, a melting pot of gold and fortune, and a greater promise for tomorrow. For tomorrow is the greatest promise ever made. No longer whispering I love you to the whisk of winds. Another chance to love and live however you want, however you need, whoever you are. I want to write the poem that saves your life, but I don't know who will listen. So until then, I will burn down cities with my words. I will burn down cities in your name. I will burn down cities in our name and dance in the flames and rebuild from the rubble a world where everyone knows you and all your messy, different, disordered, distant are still deserving of security and home, to look at a body of water and know that you won't have to cross it for safety. So go on confidently, dunk your heads, take a deep breath beneath the water and kiss when you need to come up for air. Let the crashing waves drown you in the possibilities of freedom to say I do and know you can. Hold your lover's hand at an altar. Hold your lover's hand at a hospital bedside. The freedom to hold your lover's hand and live the life you want in a body that feels yours, with a love that will not always feel like magic, but the will to fight and not fear the consequences of being who you were born to be. Maybe there are too many words in English. Maybe there still aren't enough words to identify you. Maybe some folks forgot the war on how we all came to be, or how much it costs to hold a lover's hand and never look back. And maybe that's how they became the beast behind us. But there is a rainbow directly ahead, and there isn't a storm strong enough to stop us.
Big sparkly greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This, once again, is Patrick Gallino, Global LGBTQ Ambassador for Stoli Vodka, and I'm here with a special Halloween friend. Stop staring at me and look at the camera. Anyway, earlier this year in June, during Immigration Equality's Amplify, we presented a brand new song by chart-topping recording artist Miss Debbie Holiday called Stoli Serves Pride. Since then, we have invited dozens of beautiful members of our diverse LGBTQ community to share videos of their most prideful selves, singing and moving along to the track, which we then turned into a video released this month to celebrate National Coming Out Day and LGBTQ History Month. Whether serving your community, as all of you are doing tonight by supporting the incredible work of Immigration Equality, whether you serve a perfect Stoli cocktail, as our bar star Joe Lewis did earlier tonight during our special pre-show happy hour, or whether you live your life so authentically that you just plain serve, like Regina King, who you may see in the video in just a moment. It is a privilege to have the opportunity to serve pride. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Immigration Equality world premiere of a new music video by Debbie Holiday. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Stoli Serves Pride! Woo!
just a little time here. Share your life and share your fears, the ones you're drowning in. Oh, don't you think it's time to open up and say it's my life, gonna live my way. Don't ever doubt what's in your mind, and don't you dare waste any more time. When you're feeling alone, like you wanna go home and you're out tonight, the story serves pride, pride. No reason to hide, you're gonna be alright. Let your light shine, the story serves pride, pride, pride. Oh, oh, oh. Story serves pride, oh, pride. Oh,
I have a case that definitely inspired me. A trans woman from Mexico who we've assisted. When she first came to us, she had suffered a lot of, horrific moments in Mexico, and so while she identifies a certain way, she was fearful of expressing herself, and so after many months of not seeing her, she sent me a picture, and she's like, look at me now, and her hair's long and she looks so good, and it just really inspired me because it was such a good feeling to know that she is not living in fear anymore and really being able to express who she really is. And it was just so nice to see her, and she's has a smile on her face, and I can just tell that she's super happy.
Another story about the same client. I actually had the chance to meet up with this client, and this client had recently had a legal name change that actually went through, as in the judge granted the name change order, and she still signed a form in her old name. And I asked her about it, and she basically was like, wait, does this mean now that my name has changed, do I no longer have to carry any identification in my old name? And I was just like so touched and so kind of in awe. Like, this person has been so scared of persecution on account of her gender identity throughout her life. And she finally, like, just like the look on her face, she finally had a sense of relief, as in, I can leave that behind and I'm now moving forward. It was just, it was just absolutely awe-inspiring to see that, but also very, 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 very touching.
Hello, my name is Ashley Jackson, and I am a harpist and educator based here in New York City. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. When James Weldon Johnson set those words to music in the early 20th century, he was sending a message of hope, that it is up to all of us to come together and lift up our voices as we support those who are disenfranchised in this country. Since 1994, Immigration Equality has been doing that very work. And so with this musical gift, I want to thank them for all that they do.
Tanisha, that was so good. It was so good.
Oh, as I don't know if people can tell, but that brought me to tears. It's for those of you who out there who don't know, that's the Negro anthem, and it's the song that has given so many Black people hope throughout the history of this country. So that was beautiful.
And part of the, part of who we are at Immigration Equality.
Absolutely.
And the staff and the board and the people that we serve. And, it's a tumultuous time and it feels really rocky. But I'm so thankful, Tanisha, to have you on the board.
Thank you. I'm so thankful to be on the board.
And we have some people, yeah. And we have people to thank that are supporting what we do. I know, a cause for celebration. And so I'm going to start. I'm going to say, Craig, Craig, you've been involved in this organization for so long, and thank you. And, you know, I love Dr. J as well, and give her my love.
And I'm going to say, give a big shout out to one of our board members, Jennifer Collier, who is a stalwart of our organization, and, you know, her $1,000 contribution tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for Charles and Lauren. And Lauren, who used to be a member of Immigration Equality staff, who made maybe the perfect, most like photogenic child. I've never seen any kid that was smarter, funnier. It was just, thank you, Lauren.
We'll have to get that child in some of our of our photos, in some of our like our advertisements, promotional stuff, right? And we'd like to thank Kyle Matthews as well for his amazing donation this evening. You know, you're helping us to try to hit this goal that Aaron set for us.
Stephen Blanchard, you gave more than one time tonight, or for this event. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Kristen. We love you and we're thinking about you.
Wynn Chesson, you also gave twice. Thank you to you. Love to you and your husband. Actually, you may not be married yet. And Tanisha Massey. Oh, look, you're on my phone. Thank you, darling.
What?
I know.
Well, thank you as well, sir. Thank you as well for your donation. And I'm going to say thank you to Albert Chen as well, who is a fantastic member of our board.
Well, that wraps up our portion of the program. We're going to turn it over to our development director, Sydney Jackson, to close it out. And then there'll be a little bit of dance party later if you are inclined to do so.
Sydney.
Hi, Sydney Jackson here, Director of Development for Immigration Equality. Wow, what a night. Words just can't express how grateful I am to this pro bono network. You all do some amazing work. We're great to have you as partners here. Thank you to our donors. You help us do this work. To the staff, to all the volunteers of this great event, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you. Please stay for DJ Honolulu. Come on, let's go. Stay tuned, more to come.
I've been drinking. I get filthy when that liquor getting to me. I've been thinking. Why can't I keep my fingers off it, baby? I want you, nah, nah. Why can't I keep my fingers off it, baby? I want you, nah, nah. Cigars on ice, cigars on ice. Felt like an animal with these cameras all in my grill. Flashing lights, flashing lights. Got me faded, 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 baby. I want you, nah, nah. Can't keep your eyes off my fatty daddy. I want you, nah, nah. Drunken love. We be all night. We woke up in the kitchen saying, how the hell did this ish happen? Oh, baby.
In the shed, she was looking kinda dumb with a finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, you don't stop coming. Fed to the rules, then I hit the ground running.